Hi, my name is Matt Hatner. I'm the CIO of Silk Logistics Holding. We offer a number of services. We're only seen as the Australian integrated port-to-door solution provider in Australia. Now, we offer services across three areas: port logistics, warehousing, and we've got about 30 different warehouses that we support, and distribution.
Hi, my name is Pratt. I'm from FIDigital. We are Zoho premium partners. Our customers have been mid-market and enterprise businesses who have a very different level of challenge to address. And it's not just technology, but also the adoption. We divide our teams into two. One is on the financial services side, and the other is on MRDL, that we call it as manufacturing, retail, distribution, and logistics. The teams that are behind them really have experience of dealing with such clients and their unique problems, so we address them accordingly.
The first thing that we didn't have was a really strong project management tool. And Zoho project management tool said, we can give it to you online, it's easy to implement. In fact, it's actually a product that we now use across the business. The next business need was a CRM. So because of the success that I had with the projects tool, so we went into the CRM. Very quick to implement as well, very effective, took away a lot of the manual spreadsheets that we had, and we built our sales pipeline into the CRM.
Hi, my name is Aditya. I'm the head of solutions with FIDigital. So the first interaction we had with Silk Logistics was back in 2022 November. The main agenda for that discussion was how can the Zoho solutions be better for them, and how do we make sure the Zoho systems do the heavy lifting rather than the users themselves. They already had a functioning system with their business, but they needed something better. They wanted lead scoring automation as well as lead conversion automations that actually reduce the sales team's efforts in trying to identify which ones are the good leads that they need to focus on.
After the CRM, we looked at what other areas of our business can the Zoho One products add value. And one of them is our customer service teams that are based with each of the different sites. Very difficult for us to measure this overall service because they use certain tools like email, which is effective from a communication standpoint, but very hard to work out how well we provide the service to our customers, but also, look at efficiencies and cost reduction.
They were primarily using Outlook to communicate with customers, and there were 60 plus email addresses. With Zoho Desk, we tried to map out all the different sources of where the inquiries might come from, right? The second part of it was whether any specific sites or team members or locations who would address customer inquiries based on the nature of the inquiry, whether it's a warehousing function, whether it's a distribution function, port logistics, container cartage, 3PL. We needed to identify all those areas, so we needed to funnel them into Zoho Desk departments. The first goal is to try and make things easy for the customer support team, the representative. So there's a central inbox through Zoho Desk, right? So they don't have to look at multiple folders or filters in Outlook. So they come out of it. We have SLA set up, we have escalation set up, so nobody can miss an inquiry and customers always get the support that they need. We really wanted to save as much of the user's time as possible by leveraging all the automations that Zoho offered.
Customer service rep can come into the business and really understand what are the customer inquiries that we have for the day, and then prioritize them and sequence them and work on them accordingly, and really gives them the ability to really hone in and focus on the right things that are going to add the most value to our customers. So after looking at the customer-facing solutions, we thought, great, these have been implemented so well and adding value. What other areas can we be looking at from an operational efficiency standpoint? And there's a number of processes that are manual, inconsistent, and we really want to digitize. And then a good example would be employee expenses. How do we actually bring that into a digitization process?
Their expense management was paper-based, and the expense reimbursements were processed through their ERP system, the accounting ERP. And they also had corporate cards that were issued to senior leadership, for which reconciliation has to be manually done, paper-based. So that was an area where we could achieve a quick win thanks to a perfect fit of a product we have called Zoho Expense. We were introduced to the accounts payable team. We had a workshop with them to try and understand what's the expense report submissions, like what are the policies in terms of limits and what are the policies in terms of travels and mileage. Try to map out the entire business process from start to end, and what are the reporting requirements that they have, right? So we went into like the implementation pretty quickly because Zoho Expense as a product or the application is pretty powerful.
It's made it a lot easier for people to give in their expenses, approve their expenses, and automate it back into our finance ERP. So we're now in a situation where we've got Zoho CRM in place, we've got Zoho Desk in place, we've got Zoho Expense in place, we've got Zoho Projects in place, right? But how do we start to get that data from all those core systems that are adding value into a tool that gives us the analytics that's required, right?
So now we needed 360 dashboards that show business performance on an organization level. So we wanted to leverage Zoho Analytics capabilities. We do have a lot of data points in the Zoho applications. What do we combine to actually give you reporting that not only gives you the current performance, but can also forecast what you should do in terms of resource planning, availability, capacity, and such. We tried to understand what each of the management team member would need from a finance perspective, from customer support perspective, sales perspective. What would they need? We compile data from Zoho Desk, Zoho CRM, and other Zoho applications in use to build comprehensive reports and dashboards. Some examples of the dashboards that we have built so far in Zoho Desk's case or customer support's case would be SLA compliance and customer analytics, wherein we try and understand who's the customer who submits the maximum inquiries, what are the patterns, what are the issues that they are generally facing. So just in terms of creating maximum visibility in terms of compliance, as well as general inquiry overviews.
What's really great about that product is you can build dashboards, you can build the reports, you can drill down into the data, you can look at trends that we need, right? So Zoho Analytics is one that we've just implemented, but starting to really add value to that tool. So it's a really great partnership. We've worked with them on a number of implementations already, and we continue to work with them into the future as we use the Zoho One products to digitize our business.
So our future vision for a client like Silk Logistics is very clear. So we have covered ground on customer success, we have covered operational efficiency, and we have done business intelligence and analytics. Now we want to work with Silk to have a unified view both for customers as well as for their internal employees, as well as some of the management members, and give them view of how the entire operational efficiency and customer success is coming together. We also want to offer AI services that Zoho has called Zia, which is part of Zoho One, and try and see where we can bring generative AI and agentic AI together and help some of the Silk's use cases. And I'm sure Zoho One can help us reach there.